This is a day of national consecration, and I am certain that on this day my fellow Americans expect that on my induction into the presidency, I will address them with a candor and a decision which the present situation of our people impels. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
In the early 20th century, the United States was thrown into a state of extreme economic turmoil, the Great Depression. Banks were collapsing, the stock market crashed, and Americans were stripped of jobs and their livelihood. This is our take on one of America's scariest economic disasters. The devastating period of the Great Depression unfolded during the end of the 1920s and persisted throughout the 1930s. The Roaring Twenties created the longest-lasting boom on the New York Stock Exchange. The Dow Jones Industrial Average increased from 63 points in August of 1921 to 381 points in September of 1929. This boom ended suddenly on Black Monday, October 28, 1929. The market dropped over 25% in the next 48 hours, and by mid-November, the Dow had lost one-half of its value. The drain continued until the summer of 1932, when the Dow closed at 41.22 points, 89% below its peak. The Dow did not return to its pre-crash heights until November of 1954. In mere hours, millions of Americans found their fortunes had vanished, leaving many jobless, homeless, and without any sense of security. The country had fallen into a time of uncertainty. Unemployment climbed to an unrivaled degree as businesses failed and factories shut down. Millions were without work and had their futures broken. The Black Monday stock market crash was only the beginning, however, as overproduction and unequal wealth distribution led to a chain reaction across the nation, resulting in the economic downfall.
What is your full name?
Helen Marie Hearing.
And where were you born?
In Broken Bow, Nebraska.
When were you born?
3/4/24.
So you're 99?
Yes. I just turned 99 in March, yeah. I know it was hard for everybody. We had to go on relief, and we call that welfare now, I guess. They provided food, quite a bit, commodities, they called it. And of course my grandmother still had the farm, so we did get, produce. And
Industries were booming. They produced more goods than people could buy, which led to faltering businesses and loss of jobs. And as a small fraction of the population amassed enormous riches, the majority struggled to make ends meet. This concentration of wealth weakened consumer spending power and hindered economic growth. The stark wealth divide shattered public confidence and highlighted the urgent need for equitable policies to address income inequality. The Depression was made even worse due to an agricultural crisis that affected rural communities. Crop prices fell, soil eroded, and droughts devastated farmers' sources of income. The chain reaction these rural areas experienced caused farmers to lose their livelihoods and uproot their families in search of better life. By 1933, the unemployment rate reached its peak of 25%, over 15 million Americans without jobs. The Depression was a time of utter sorrow. People lost everything, including their livelihood. Hope dissipated by the day as families left their homes and anyone who could searched for work. The widespread joblessness led to a devastating ripple effect, changing the nation as a whole. It highlighted the immediate need for economic recovery and sparked discussions around government intervention and the importance of creating job opportunities. The impact of the employment crisis would shape policies and pave the way for future labor reforms, leaving a profound imprint on society.
she made 50 cents an hour. And she stayed at that job. We did not have a car, so she walked to work and back, even in the snow.
During the Great Depression, rampant homelessness exposed the stark realities of poverty. Families were torn apart and children were left without care as society grappled with the crisis. Charitable efforts and community support emerged, but the scale of the problem seemed insurmountable. The crisis sparked reforms challenging social and economic systems. The impact forced the nation to confront its values, leading to programs and policies to prevent homelessness. The scars lingered, but resilience and compassion emerged from the darkest of times.
What about the house you grew up in? Was it nicer? Was it not so nice?
It wasn't so nice. It was actually, we rented a house, or my dad at that time lived with us, and he couldn't pay the rent, and at that time it was $25 a month, and it was one bedroom, if that. I'm trying to think. Small house for 7 of us. We had one bedroom, and we all, kids slept, all of us, all we had was beds in that one room. I mean, it was pretty sad, really, when you think about it, but now it's sad.
How was your house?
We had no bathrooms now, get this.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
No bathrooms, no hot or cold water, but...
Public food aid during the Great Depression had a profound societal impact. It provided a lifeline to those suffering from extreme poverty, offering nourishment and a glimmer of hope. Soup kitchens and breadlines became symbols of compassion and community support. These efforts highlighted the importance of collective action and laid the foundation for future social welfare programs. Public food aid became a vital source of sustenance during a time of immense hardship.
What sorts of meals did you have when you were younger?
Mostly potatoes,
Yeah,
which I still like, so
that's good.
potatoes and beans, lots of beans, rice, and hardly any meat because that was too expensive for us.
Among the tragedy, a sliver of hope developed. Following his inauguration in 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs emerged, which aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform to the economy. $41.7 billion in funding for domestic programs like relief for unemployed workers was provided through the New Deal. The deal brought other remarkable changes like generating new jobs through public works projects, launching welfare plans, and putting regulations in place in order to prevent another economic catastrophe. The New Deal initiatives brought back life into the nation. Dams, bridges, and roads were constructed, and with them came jobs and a renewed sense of purpose in the nation. In response to the widespread unemployment, the government founded the Works Progress Administration. This created millions of new jobs as new infrastructure and public spaces were to be improved. The Works Progress Administration didn't just spring the economy back to life, but it also left behind a legacy of public works and cultural enrichment. In August 1935, the government instituted the Social Security Act, a piece of legislation that drastically transformed the social welfare landscape. This act provided assurance for the vulnerable members of society by establishing programs such as unemployment insurance, old age pensions, and disability assistance. This proved to be a landmark shift towards preventing citizens from suffering under the ravages of insecurity and poverty. The Social Security Act remains a pillar of support, ensuring safety for millions and serving as a reminder of the impact which government intervention brought during this time of crisis.
There must be a strict supervision of all banking and credit and investment. There must be an end to speculation with other people's money. And there must be provision for an adequate but sound currency.
Another solution to combat the Depression was the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC was established with the goal for building confidence in the financial markets. It implemented measures to prevent illegal practices and increase transparency within the securities industry. By enforcing accountability and giving investors protection, the SEC played a large role in rebuilding the trust and stability in the economy. Its introduction marked a huge step towards the protection against financial misconduct and ensuring the integrity of the securities market, leaving a long-lasting impact on the regulation of finances. The United States' involvement in World War II finally marked the end of the Great Depression, with the conflict massively boosting government spending and mobilizing industries. The war effort also created many more jobs, boosted manufacturing, and increased demand from consumers. Military production regenerated the economy, dragging the country out of the Depression. The war's economic impact reshaped industries, paved the way for technological advancements, and set the stage for a post-war economic boom. The Great Depression left a great legacy which would linger long after its end, leaving a permanent mark on the country. It fundamentally reshaped our country's landscape economically, socially, and politically. The crisis prompted changes such as the implementation of key reforms such as social safety nets, financial regulations, and job creation programs. It brought a new focus on economic stability and the importance of government intervention in times such as this. The Great Depression would forever change the way American people would approach economic policy, bringing a legacy of resilience, awareness, and commitment to prevent future disasters. The United States learned a lot from the Great Depression, including the importance of financial regulation, equitable wealth distribution, and proactive government intervention. In order to prevent another economic disaster like the Great Depression, in the future we must prioritize responsible economic practices and promote inclusive growth. Stronger regulations, creating sustainable economic development, and making social welfare a priority can help insulate us from the possible impacts of another economic downturn. Learning from our mistakes of the early 18th century, the United States can create a future of stability, opportunity, and prosperity. If you could tell your 10-year-old self one thing, what do you think it would be?
One thing? What would it be? I wonder where my life went, now. And I can't believe that I'm as old as I am. That's how fast life is, when it goes so fast. And I'm the only one surviving out of a big family. And I think it's because I never smoked. They all did. So I use that I'm really serious about it, because they all smoked and they all died from cancer of some kind. Yeah, I do like my cocktail.